I hope y'all are doing well. I'm doing good on my end. It's great to be on this fine Sunday, just to be here on the charts. I can't wait to break these markets down. I kind of looked over everything for a few minutes beforehand, but I really just want to get into everything and just see what we have looking for the rest of the week. Let me get my camera back. But yeah, so what I'm going to be breaking down, basically the same pairs I normally look over. Basically, I have GJ, EJ, Gold, and AU. For this week, I have UJ and GU as well, but I'm starting to lean back or lean off of those. So yeah, so here we go. I'm gonna start off with GJ. So first thing I see on the daily is, forget it, bro. Y'all can't see my screen. But I'm gonna just keep going. Keep going. I'm still trying to figure all this out, y'all. So forgive me, man. So, so first things first on GJ on the daily. Notice how last week we had a lot of bearish pressure, bringing price all the way back down here to around this mid section. And I'll go over that in a little bit. But once price broke out of these highs, made this extreme surge to the upside, price and sellers took price all the way back down, and that mid level that I mentioned right here. So I have the 192 400 and 191 130, and I pretty put this here earlier because if I were to clone this, this is exactly like the mid level of this point. So price came exactly to that mid area and rejected off of there. Just something I just kept in mind of. But where we are right now, I could see price continuing to go to the upside where we could potentially see a breaker structure if price breaks above here. But in the meantime, price is maintaining below it as well as below this moving average. So as of right now, I would declare this as bearish, or more of a bearish market, especially after we had all of this seller activity. We have a lower high right here, another lower high. The price is maintaining below that point. I see that it broke this area right here, but we're still overall bearish. And I would just like to see how price will really react once it comes up here within these zones, and especially coming to this moving average. And I kind of use my moving average almost like an area of resistance. So we could see price potentially bounce off of it, continue to the downside, or break above as well as this previous high, or yeah, this previous lower high, and see what price ends up doing from there. So that's that for this pair as of right now. So we'll see what price ends up doing going forward. And very similar with EJ, where we see very, very similar structure, lower high, and price coming down here. We can see price potentially coming up to this moving average. Right now, it's kind of flat, meaning that price is not really in a state of direction right now where we're not really too much of a bullish market or bearish, but it's kind of just flat, stagnant, and we're just waiting for price to move in a particular direction to really base our bias off of. So right now we see more bullish activity upon the market open, so we could see price heading up to this moving average and these highs right here, and just kind of see what it does there. Like I mentioned earlier, it could potentially break above and have a shift in market structure where we can see a more bullish side of things, or it could continue with the lower highs and create another lower high here. This is terrible, but a lower high like below this previous high or something like that, or it could come up and come to the same area and continue to the downside. So y'all, this is terrible, but that's another possibility. So just keep in mind of both of those. And gold, so gold, looking at this, obviously just bearish as of right now, where I want to say 2 weeks ago, where price came all the way up here, and we saw more bearish activity going on with price struggling to break above here. We have I almost want to say triple top, but we have another rejection right here, where we have one right here, right here, right here, right here, all these rejections right here, and price breaking this trend line. I drew this. I don't want to say redundant, but it's just a trend line I added here. It didn't need to be there, but I just drew that as a kind of a guide for a break of structure. So we have that break of structure right here, price flowing nicely with this moving average, and we have a solid pullback as well. So that's where I pulled out my fib. Price not didn't quite hit my 0.618 area, which I typically like to see price hit, but didn't quite hit that. Didn't quite hit this as well. So, but price came to the point 0.5 and respected the moving average as well. So if we were to go down to the hourly, we see a nice rejection upon here, and then price kind of came up, pulled back a few times, kind of creating these lower highs, if you want to call it, especially right here with this double top, that which could be considered as a lower high after this, and price continued to flow nicely up down there. We could draw another trend line here, showing a break of that. Price continued to go down there. So bearish, definitely bearish for last week. As you can see, I have a more of a higher time frame trend line right here, as it kind of flows with where we are right now and where price opened a few hours ago. So where we are right now, we do have this lower high, this previous lower high that I mentioned, and price maintaining below it. And I also drew this area of consolidation because we're basically in a range right here where price is maintaining within this rectangle, not going above or below, and still respecting overall structure or the bearish structure. So right now, what I'm really waiting for is a break out of this area. So we see rejections to the downside, preventing it from going down and breaking below, and rejections to the upside, so preventing it from going above and breaking this area as well. So this is a waiting game, especially when we're within this range right here. This is not a sign to get in a trade. This is a sign to basically just wait. So we could wait for another bounce. Price could potentially bounce here and bounce against this trend line to continue to the downside, pull back potentially and come down here. And that would be pretty solid in accordance with this bearish trend. We could also see a break above where price breaks above, and we see more bullish pressure breaking the trend line as well, coming down to retest it and breaking these highs as well. It could also potentially create I guess this will be considered a double top right there, so maybe a triple top right here, coming again, and still be considered bearish and respect this overall trend to continue to the downside as well. So keep in mind of both of those. With AU, we don't really have a direction. I think I mentioned that in the previous video, but not really much of a direction. But last week I was monitoring it a lot, and we saw a lot of bullish activity going on with breaks of highs, a lot of higher highs and higher lows going on. Right here, you have an area of support, higher low. You had an area of resistance, price broke it, came down to retest, continue to go up. But I believe it was in a news event or something like that going on, but price continued to come up here and then just dropped. So I remember gold did the same thing. Gold just dropped out of nowhere and definitely caused a shift of things where I was like, okay, are we still bullish? Because this is definitely shaky. But notice how price continued on here. Price did not. It broke these lows. I will say that, and it pretty much broke the trend line on the 4 hour. but still kind of rebounded and came back up from there to continue and come all the way up here to these highs. So on the daily, we have a triple top here, rejections. Really, we have another rejection right here. All right, going back to the 4 hour, we had an initial rejection right here. So that's a something definitely that we should pay attention to. We already had one rejection. Doesn't mean that it's just going to completely just go down from there. But based on the previous or the past, we had, immediate rejections from this point. So something definitely to keep in mind of. Right now, we're not really seeing that, but market did just open. That could potentially be something that could happen in next few hours or a few days where prices drops from here. But we just pretty much have to wait. We do have this double top right here. Price already rejected it, so it could potentially reject it again. And, that just might be something we have to wait for. I also have a box here where price is just kind of in a range as it opened. So that's something to keep in mind of as well. But not too much to really say here because the price is in a range and because we had this initial rejection, but we don't know if price will, continue to respect this area of resistance or break above it to continue to the upside. So those are definitely possible outcomes out of this. But right now, normally on Sundays, y'all, I just sit back and watch and see, just really see where price is at, see where price could potentially go, and continue on from there. I don't really get into any entries. I don't really like to get too much in the mix on Sunday, but on Sunday I just like to know where price is at and continue on from there in the week. So that's where we're at right now. That was just my little breakdown. I like to do these every Sunday, but yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. And hold on. And we'll be back next Sunday. You already know what it is. So new scenery. I'm not on campus anymore, so I moved out and everything. So I'm back at home for the month of May, and I'm going right back to. I stayed in Durham, so I'll go right back to Durham for an internship over the summer. But yeah, I'm at the crib. You see my bed behind me. I got the LED lights. Yeah, so appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next Sunday. All right, let's have a good week. Let's have a good week. All right.